going to do now is I'm going to add a little bit of olive oil into my pan. This is about half a tablespoon. As you can see, I have washed and finely chopped my callaloo. You can see they are in small pieces. Next, I'm going to show you my spices. It is salt, pepper, and onion powder. I also have my onions, which I'm going to add to the pan level, and my saute. Next, I'm going to add my turkey knee, smoked turkey knee, and I'm going to add my curry. Now, here's a little trick. Get fresh thyme. To take all the sprigs off, just go the opposite direction. So you're going to take your thyme, you're going to go in the opposite direction and sprinkle. Opposite direction and sprinkle. So we're going to do that a couple more times until it's all in. And if you don't want to do all that, you can just put it in there whole and then make sure that you actually get these sprigs out. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to just let that cook for a little. All that yumminess kind of fluffy in the pan for a little bit here. And as you can see, the onions are getting caramelized. Just trying to heat down just a touch. And everything is just sort of melting together right now. That's cooking. And I'm going to show you those in just a minute. What I'm going to do is I'm going to let this cook down for a few more minutes. And you can see these onions are getting nice and brown and caramelized. You see that? Let the thyme do its magic. All the aromatics cook really well with the... As it's cooking down, you can see I got my waters here. And what I am going to do is I'm going to add about 1 teaspoon of the chicken grease. I'm going to just put that in here. As you guys can see, that's about 1 teaspoon. And I'm just adding that water. Now what I'm going to do is just going to mix this. Just want to break up that chicken base so there's no lumps in it. And as you can see, it's starting to turn yellow, which is exactly what you want. You want all of that chicken base to mix well with your water. And then we're going to pour this in just a few minutes. All right, now that everything seems to be cooked down, what we're going to do now is we're going to actually add the callaloo. And I'm going to give this one more kind of stir, making sure that I have everything in there. And now I am going to add my callaloo. So again, this is fresh callaloo from the garden. And I know it seems like a lot, but what's going to happen is this is all going to cook way down. So it's very similar to spinach, very similar to your greens, where all of it cooks down. Now, what I did was I triple washed these and then chopped them up very fine. So as you can see here, this is all going to kind of cook down. And I'm going to move this over just a little bit so you guys can see that a little better. Yep. Got a callaloo that jumped out. Really done. All right, and now that this is cooking down, just going to give it a quick stir to get what's on the bottom on top. You guys can see I'm just mixing that all together, bringing the bottoms to the top and the top to the bottom. All right, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add my spices. So again, this is black pepper, we have salt, and we have cayenne powder. So you're just going to liberally add all of that. You get all of it. I'm going to let all that flavor and the spices just kind of meld together. And as you can see, it's starting to cook down now. So now I'm going to add half a butter. As you can see, it's starting to cook down. It smells so good. So I had this in Jamaica when I was pregnant with Grace. So it was a little bit of time ago. But it was so delicious. It reminded me of collard greens, but a more tender version of that. So flavorful and so or not, a lot of Jamaican, if you've ever had oxtails, they use thyme in oxtails, and there's several dishes that actually use thyme. So in the garden, we actually have two types of thyme growing. We have regular thyme, which is what I just added here. And for those of you that didn't see it, this is actually how thyme looks, and it's these tiny leaves that you want. And then there's lemon thyme, which literally, if you pluck it and you taste it and you smell it, it literally tastes like a lemon. It is so good. But I usually use that on fish or chicken, seafood like shrimp. But as you can see, this callaloo is really cooking down and looking really very pretty. Look at how green that is. Super, super healthy for you. I like the way this is actually cooking. It's nice and tender here. We're gonna let this cook down, and I will show you the finished dish. Welcome back, friends. So the callaloo has cooked down, and this is what it actually looks like. Absolutely beautiful. As you guys can see, very much has a consistency, looks a little bit like spinach, so let's give it a taste. And I will tell you, for my callaloo, I like to put vinegar, I like to put a little bit of hot sauce. You can just eat this as a side dish, so let's give it a taste. So good. If you've never had callaloo before, give it a try. Absolutely delicious. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a great day.